Welcome in the ATB show, atbshow.com. You can go there and find all the links for all the things. Historically, primarily on YouTube, although Rubber Shoes, Jersey of the Day, Rubber Shoes, Wrap Up and Rant, Rubber Shoes, Tasteful Nudes by the Pool, which we're out of season for right now. All of that is all over the place. It's probably jamming up your TikTok. You're trying to get your Jack Harlow in, which I can't get enough right now. I love you, Jack. See you soon. All that aside, we are brought to you, whether they like it or not, by our dear friends at AAA Work Trucks. Joe and Leslie, thank you so much. If it goes in, on, or around a truck, or if you see a truck with Rubber Shoes face on the side of it, he's probably headed to disappoint a customer. I don't know why they keep him around.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Joe and Leslie. He's like what did I say? Who's the guy from Apple? Employee
which
Apple.
Steve Jobs?
No. He God bless. No, not Steve. Not Tim Cook. Not the late Steve. Not the current Tim Cook. Wozniak. Steve Wozniak.
Wozniak.
Yes.
He was employee number one. You're right.
Yes. He's like the original employee over there. They're not getting rid of him. And again, I'm going to warn everybody because we're in that window now. Scotty giving way too much time to Rubber Shoes, but he deserves all of it. If you're going to the holiday party that Joe and Leslie typically throw in a skybox at the garden,
this is what usually happens.
That looks delicious. We'll get to that in a second. Dear Lord.
I was pouring one for the holiday party.
When you do go to the AAA Work Trucks holiday party and the steak tips are missing, I would have you check Rubber Shoes' beautiful wife, Stephanie. He probably put them in a gallon Ziploc and then throws them in her hobo bag. So when they get stopped by security, she looks guilty, but it's really him. That's more information than anybody need, but we're here anyway. So what did you just pour? What the hell was that? Do you have
just a little scotch? Scotch. Yes, it is a canter. So it is.
You're like
this
Holly
was
Specter from Suits. I'm so turned on right now. What is happening?
This was full this morning.
It was,
right.
It's been a hard day.
That was full when he got home. He just got back from a parent-teacher meeting.
Yeah.
Yep. Good time. Good time.
No, what's actually funny is that was actually a gift from, and follow me here, from my brother's future son-in-law. So yes, Ryan's fiance, my niece's fiance, Travis, good kid. He bought that. He bought me like a little canter set, which is very nice of him for Christmas last year. And
phenomenal.
It's I forgot which whiskey or scotch I put in it because this is like the second time I've filled it. So
I love it. Huge fan.
But, it's awesome.
We're underway. We're already off course. Scotty Dukes is home for his parent-teacher meeting, and he's drinking scotch, which is phenomenal. Not a sponsor yet, but absolutely one of my favorites. Our friends over at Lord Hobo with the Juice Lord.
Yes.
An uninjured, unlike Time Lord. But we'll get to that in just a second. And we have, because Adam's on assignment, Rubber Shoes might be up a ladder, up a tree, rescuing a cat, maybe helping somebody at a fire. I don't know what he's doing. He is civil servanting tonight, so he couldn't make it to the show. So we dragged in the one and only Corey. He joins us, and I get to mention the word Celtics. Then I'm going to let you two ladies fight about it, which is awesome. And then we obviously have to get to the soup of the day, or the pea soup of the day, which is Patriots talk. But we're going to go Celtics first. And Corey, God bless him, making time for us. He's on the road. He's on assignment. So he's on a business trip. Where are you currently right now? Are you in Arkansas?
No, I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, you're in Hotlanta. Okay, sorry. Yeah. And
I was going to say,
go to a Hawks game.
Oh, nice. There you go. I was going to say those aren't your bathroom shades, right? Because when I popped on, I was like, I don't know. He's definitely not at home. I don't know what.
So you're going to go to a Hawks game. Is Neek still playing? I haven't kept up with
Oh, my God.
I'm just checking. I don't know.
No.
Neek played with the Celtics before he retired. So
we were just talking quickly, Scotty, before we got on the air, and welcome in everybody. How passionate we get about certain players. I talked about the fact that I wore black thong underwear. I left that out for you earlier, Corey. I was wearing black underwear for months after like Kevin Millar left. Like I get really emotional about players leaving, and we were talking about IT. And when IT left the Celtics ages ago, right? I remember being extra emotional because Aiden had just done a basketball camp in Boston with him, and it was awesome. He was so good with the kids. And I don't know why, and maybe you can explain this phenomenon, because I think he's one of the athletes for sure that the the Mandela effect kicks in. You would have thought he was here for like 17 seasons and won 32 championships. I felt that way about him. I look back, I'm like, oh no, he was here for like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 seasons.
But
Yeah.
Corey and I were talking about how much we adored him and how sad we were to see him go, and he's one of those players.
Yeah,
And
I was really sad to see him go because I think he embodied what that team was building at the time of grit and a bunch of no names right at the time, and he played out of his mind. He played above his pay grade, right?
Sure.
And we were getting Kyrie, right? And I was a little on the fence
Oh my
about the
God,
Kyrie thing,
yes.
and I was like, eh. But look at Danny, right? He trades the last pick in the draft for the first pick in the draft, right? If it works out, okay.
Mm.
But that was your heart, right? And comparing it to Marcus going, I was like, I think it's time. He did great. I love him, but this team needs to either jump or they're just going to stay the same, right? That's how I felt.
And I think, Corey, that's a really, really apt comparison, right? Because for me, I'd say when they did trade Thomas for Kyrie, I was kind of the same boat. I was a little nervous at first, even though Kyrie's like next level talent. But I think
Yeah.
Isaiah's time had kind of run the course because he was looking for a substantial contract, but he was banged up. Like he was just not healthy, and it was going to take him a couple of years to get healthy. And I don't think the Celtics were in that mode to wait for that. And then you look at where Marcus is. I don't think the Celtics were in the mode to wait for him to, take that next step around whether it was the shooting or even the fact like, was he going to lose a step? Is he going to lose a step? Has he lost a step in Memphis, around on the defensive side of the basketball? So yeah, I think it's a really good comparison where I think it was time to move on from Marcus and clearly getting like Hauser more minutes and getting Pritchard more minutes, even though Pritchard's been, he's had some boneheaded moments and some questionable moments throughout the season so far, but he's also played really well.
Different games. Sorry,
but yeah, we'll get to that. He's just gonna.
Can't wait.
I think at this juncture of the season, and I know it was really really young. I was upset that they lost to Philadelphia, but I was like, okay, well, let's see how they bounce back from that. And Tatum's on another level. Like he throws up these shots, and I'm like, that's not going in, and it goes in. Right.
Yeah.
He closes his eyes and it goes in. Right. And Stevens looks like a genius by trading away Brogdon, who was not going to play for him. He was disgruntled. He was mad because he got his name tossed around to the Clippers, right? Which I would be too. They're 0-5 with Harden, thank God. And gets rid of Time Lord, which I was a little like, I really like him, but he's always injured. And guess what? He's out for the season. So we got Drew Holiday and all these players. And then I was nervous about the bench. I was like, okay, how are we going to look at, the bench when we get the bench guys in there? You got Sam that's got to step up. They kept Luke, which I didn't think they were going to keep Luke. Sam's playing out of his mind. Pritchard can go on a streak, right? And you're right, he's made some bonehead stuff. But Luke, who I call Hoppa, right, who hops around, is dunking the ball and jumping at the 3-point line. I mean, he's playing really good. I'm really impressed with how the bench has formed thus far. And then you got a bunch of scrappers that will play some good heady defense. I think they're in a good place right now. I think you got what Williams has his mid-level
exception
trade that they did. Exception, yep. So they could use that, come around trade time or after the All-Star break. And I think you look at Matty Ryan. I know it's not wrong, Matty Ryan for Tim, right? But this Matty Ryan kid that the Maine Celtics had, this kid's playing really good. He's played his time in the G League. I think he'd be a good kid you could pick up.
He had to bring up the Red Claws. He had to. This is the dumbest name change ever, dude. In the history of ever. Like, it should not be the Maine Celtics. They should be the Red Claws.
I totally agree with that.
Because
I love
they're calling the Maine Celtics, and I know, do you still have season tickets? You can't let go.
No,
Do you
I
still
don't.
have your seasons?
Oh, I was
No,
going to say, do
no.
you really? Oh my God.
Look
No.
at Scotty's like, I'll take him. No, so
I mean,
no, but in the grand scheme of things, they move it to the main Celtics, and I get it, I guess. What were they using the old unit? It's like when the high school, when the varsity hands the jerseys down to the JV, they're like, oh, good, they
Yeah.
won. Like, I don't know what the point of doing that because the logo on the floor is still a goddamn lobster.
And it's green.
Yeah. But,
Sidebar.
you know,
Anyway, so let
they
me ask
have-
you this, because you talked
Yep.
about the fact that JT's throwing up like 4-pointers and, Dana Barros. I had to get it in there. Check the box. We got it in for 2023. The Dana Barros shots. There it is. Because I was bitching about this last year. Everybody's like, what was it? Was it a game 5 or a game 7? JT was unlocked. Remember, I went on that rampage because he wasn't, because we ended up still shitting the bed.
Yeah.
Do you think he is now? Do you think this is the JT we've been waiting for now?
Yeah.
Or is this
totally
early
do.
season JT and he's going to get turd?
No, I think this is I think this is him. By the way, let's first clarify that the Dana Barros quota has been met like 4 times throughout the 2023 year. We're near the end. I'm just making sure that that's we checked that
You can't
box,
say
Timmy,
that again.
but that's okay. But it's funny. Paul Pierce 2 nights ago, I think it was 2 nights ago, said that Jason Tatum is the best American-born player in the world right now, and I would 100% agree with that. I mean, I still think Jokic and probably Luka are better than him in regards to just MVP and talent and things like that, and where they are, and like the European players. I mean, obviously the rest of the world is is definitely caught up to the USA, but Tatum is having an MVP start. The game he played last night against the Knicks, where he dropped 35, but at 17 in the fourth quarter, where the game was not. It wasn't like it wasn't the Celtics to really automatically have, right? And then he just went off 6 for 8 from the field. A horrible technical foul that was called on him. He spoke to that after the fact, where and I think really the NBA needs to look at this a lot more. The technical fouls that they're giving out right now are just awful. They're god awful. Like the stare down technical fouls. It's not even really staring down. Tatum's last night, he was frustrated because of the foul call, clapped and made like a yelling sound, which is just being passionate about playing defense. And you're going to call him for a friggin' T? Like, oh yeah, Giannis. I know. That was garbage, dude. Absolute garbage.
That part's been terrible.
Giannis
been
literally
awful.
landed and like for a millisecond and then stepped away.
Yep.
And that wasn't it was when he went and complained about that one that he got teed up and thrown, right? Or was that
no? He had that was the second one. He had already got one earlier.
And I love that he sat down with the kid, and then the kid crossed his legs and took the selfie. So good.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, that it's almost like they want to be the NFL, the known fun league. Like I don't. And there was somebody else within the last couple of weeks. I think it was Porzingis. Was he trying to correct himself? He was hanging on the rim, trying to correct himself, not land on somebody, not roll an ankle. And they said he was showing off. Like, God.
Yeah, it was against Philly, and he was just literally he dunked, and as he was dunking, his momentum swung him forward.
Yep.
And then he was, I have no idea how this feels at all, but apparently, if you do that, if you let go, you're going to fall down.
Yeah,
so
I've seen pictures. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could do it on a 6-foot rim, but
you've got a plastic bat. You've got NBA Jams behind you on one of those machines, don't you? Yes, Jam.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't think Corey's seen that. We have to do at some point. We have to do the video tour. Corey, if you look over his shoulder, move the microphone real quick. Look at there. If you go down,
there you go.
Yeah. There's 92. Yeah, it's like That's Fun Spot up by the lake at his house.
That includes, I guess, like big stuffed animals too. With like there's a unicorn back there or something.
Everyone needs a unicorn, right?
Yeah, everyone does.
Do you have
and
a claw game? Is there a claw game in there?
There is not. No. But I did beat up. I did beat up Stevie the other weekend at Golden Tee. Just absolutely destroyed.
Golden Tee. I forgot about that.
Beautiful.
That must be an absolute. So talk to me about. I know we're
all
going off the rails
quickly, but I do want to talk about. I talked to you on the way home because I was at Sauhegan, so I didn't watch the game. I got audio updates and text updates from a lot of people because we were listening on Sirius XM on the golf cart speaker, and then it dropped because we just got into that weird part of the back, whatever. And as soon as I came back, got the text from Bubbett shot me a text. He's like, and we're 2-8. I'm like, oh, God. And then I'm talking to you, and I realized like that was at 9:30. So your phenomenal father was he sleeping in your driveway like he was waiting for Dave Matthews tickets? Like when did Slick Rick get to your house for like Sunday brunch?
He thought it was at 9, so he actually showed up at like 8. He was there like 8:45 in the morning.
Yeah, he's in footy pajamas making pancakes for the kids. Love it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the boys out the door to drop them off at Kelly's.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, out of the corner over here, where like the slider is, here comes Dad, just walking over. Hey, looking in there. Hey.
Oh my God, I love all of this.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
He was there for pre-gamed.
Oh yeah. But then he pre-gamed. We hung out. We had mimosas because it was it was a brunch game. So we had mimosas.
I love that.
Enjoyed that. Sausage, bacon, hash browns, eggs, the whole nine. After the game, he called up his buddy. He's like, "Hey, I'll be down at the trio, the other side of the field, in about an hour and a half." Next thing you know, 2 hours later, I hear, "Wah," they're down there cutting wood.
So let me ask this because this came up and it's not a big deal, but it was a little weird. And I didn't do any research. No one should be shocked. Welcome to the show. But like the Germany time slot, 9:30 was just weird.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
They could have timed it that it just made more. I don't know. It could have made more sense.
Oh, definitely
the way they timed it out, so it teed into other games. And there's no like they don't have to make amends with Germany. Well, this might turn into a history class or a political statement. We need to make amends with Germany about when we're going to start the game. Like we're coming over, dropping a game in your country that you're very excited about. Why wouldn't we time that a little bit better? I think a lot of people loved it. I know a lot of restaurants loved it because they were doing basic brunch everywhere for everyone. But it just seemed like a weird starting time when they could have just made it make more sense. There's no reason they couldn't make it a night game over there and have it be a 1:00 game. And I know they're doing this to capture the audience because it's in Europe, and nobody cares. And nobody outside of Uncle Rico beating us 10-6.
Yeah.
It was a nothing burger. Like I don't.
It was bad. I mean, it's noon there right now. Right. So that's, okay. I'm not going to do the math here, but it's noon on November 15th at this point for them.
No.
So 9:30
was. No. What? Noon? Nope.
No,
what?
It says current time zone. It says 11:59 p.m.
No, midnight, dude.
Oh, midnight. Jesus. See, this is why I'm drinking.
Yeah, so they're 6 hours ahead of us.
Yes. Yeah, they're only 6. I wasn't thinking they were a whole day.
So they made it a 3:30 game for them.
Yep.
I don't know. It was just a weird choice, and I guess
they could have done a 4:30 game, which would have been normal, right? For them, and it would have been what 11:30.
But the problem is that bleeds into the 1:00 games here. And they want to have, you know what I mean? They want to have this just to be the only game on. And then it ends like at 12:30. People show up.
So they can do the US
pregame, they kick over and then they
shows and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm literally suggesting they could have just simply gone a half an hour difference.
10 o'clock.
Because if it was 10, it would have been 10. So Bobby Dugan on the West Coast would have gone 7, 10, 1.
Right.
And we would have gone 10, 1, 4. Right. And it wasn't a big deal, just an odd choice. And that seems to be an ongoing theme. And I'm going to blame it on the fact that you don't have Aaron Rodgers suited up right now. I'm going to blame it on the fact that Mr. Wonderful, Tom Brady, is finally retired, I think. Wait a minute.
No,
Still retired. And there's a lot of games, like the Jets game the other night, that should have been a better game. And I understand when they scheduled it, they're like, this is a primetime game, but it's not because Aaron's, he's going to be back in 12 minutes, apparently. Like he's throwing huge passes.
I'm still telling you.
And living in a bubble or something, but God bless him.
He faked that injury on purpose. He didn't want to get hit.
He faked he's creating false excitement.
Hot take right here.
Listen. When I went to Cal, I actually studied marketing. I'm creating false excitement. Yeah, God bless him. But
it's
my
funny
general statement is there's so many blah games this year. Just blah.
Because you know what, we have now passed a critical point in time in the National Football League where the quarterback era could be dead. Right? You look at the last few drafts where great quarterbacks have not been taken. If you go back and you look at even from the let's say mid 80s, right? Mid
Yep.
to late 80s, where you could go down in each division and 3 out of the 4 teams or 5 teams in each division from the mid 80s all the way until, basically like 2018, you would have 3 out of those 5 teams would have like a legit quarterback. But, Breeze is gone. Rivers is gone. Brady obviously gone. Peyton, both the Mannings are gone.
Mm.
There's no real marquee guys. You look at the teams now, you had Aiden O'Connell versus Zach Wilson. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. Even if you had Jimmy Garoppolo versus like Aaron Rodgers, still not super sexy, right? But at least it's A-Rod, and A-Rod's 4 seconds away from retiring. I was talking to my buddy Chris about this. I'm like, there's a handful of guys at quarterback right now that's appointment television. Mahomes obviously is 1, Burrow 2, Hurst is 3, and then it gets a little bit fuzzy, but maybe Lawrence, you know what I mean? But it's just, I don't know, like it starts to get fuzzy at that point. You want to say Josh Allen, but after last night, he actually now passed Mac Jones last night, most interceptions in the NFL. He now has 11. So thank you for that, Josh Allen. We appreciate it.
You make such a great point. First of all, Bills fire their coordinator 6 hours after the game ends.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable. And before we got on the air, Corey made a great point. Commensurate statistics right now between Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence. And I think if you told me right now, pick one.
Ooh, I'm going to look at
on because he looks like one of the, he looks like Mbop, right? He looks like one of the Hansons, like because he's a handsome woman. I mean, I'd take him I'd take him. I think on passing appearance, I'd be like, yeah, I think he's a better quarterback, but statistically, they're not lockstep, but they're hyper close. How is it that Mac, and back to your original point, Scotty, how is it that Mac is making his numbers that are equal to Trevor look that much worse? And if we are moving out of the era of the QB, like the league's not going to be QB driven anymore,
right?
Shouldn't we be okay right now? Because he's a pretty okay
very similar,
quarterback,
right?
But he just seems to be. Here's what we're coming out of, and we're never going to live this down. We're so used to 2 minutes left, down by 75. Brady will figure it out.
Yeah.
And Brady was just like, Brady's like, I made the bed, I scored the touchdown, I picked up flowers for my wife. Like, he did everything. And he was the cover up that covered all the warts for us. And now where he always found the play, we have, Gesicki, and Aiden was like, you probably just don't watch it. Just let your friends tell you about it, Dad. Don't watch it when you get home. And I couldn't wait to see the highlights or the lowlights, whatever we're calling them now as Patriots fans. And Gesicki's like, I could have made that catch. I'll repeat that, Bob Kraft. I could have made that catch. Wide open.
Ball wasn't 10 yards short, yeah.
Wide open. And I don't know what he's doing, and I appreciate that he hits that dais every week, and he stands up there, and he takes full accountability. But saying, I'm sorry I sucked again for 16 straight weeks does not make you a full-time quarterback in this league. And I think this is where all of our roads converge on this conversation, because I'm pretty sure I know how Corey feels. And last time I talked to you Sunday on the way home after you had Rick escorted from your building. I think we still all have the coin in our pocket, and Bill we trust. I really do.
Oh yeah.
I'll take Bill every day.
Yep.
And I'm not sold that Mac is the 100% problem, because just like you said, okay, so yards he's thrown already is 1,861, 10 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Quarterback rating is terrible, right? Trevor Lawrence, who we all think is sexy and he's a good-looking quarterback,
he's
right?
So beautiful.
1,935 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's got a 60 quarterback rating. They're not that far apart.
I think you look at it. You didn't include last week's numbers, because I got the numbers here too. But you're right on though, Corey, because it's 2,031 for Mac for yards, 10 and 10, right? At 65% completion percentage, you got Mbop, as Timmy called him, 67% completion percentage, 21-20 in yards, so they're super close there. 9 and 6. So he threw 2 picks on Sunday. 9 touchdowns, 6 picks, and they've both been. And the thing is, too, like for me, this is the eye opener because when it comes to Mac, my biggest like complaint about him is when his first read breaks down, he folds like Tony Eason. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I can't get hit. I'm just gonna fall down now. You're welcome. For the listeners that most
the good old
know,
days.
I think our
Where's
demographic
Rod
is
Ross?
probably
He
going to remember
died, by the way.
Tony
I looked
Eason.
it up.
I couldn't see when I was in the stands because there was so many obstructions.
Oh,
But
what? No, the old
Trevor
Schaefer
Lawrence-
Stadium? Are you kidding me? That was the best high school stadium in the country. Schaefer kid.
Oh, dude, the best cold benches you'll ever sit on, right there, man.
Well, I you know what? I think this is the trio. I think Corey was the one that took the picture of me standing behind you at Gillette. You've got your double fisting, and I'm doing the.
Yeah,
That's such a good.
It's
We
a
have
shocking
to dig that
development
one
that
up.
every time
We
we're
have to dig
together,
that one up for
Scotty's
the
drinking.
social media. Yes, Scotty was
Scotty's always
lighted
drinking.
up
This
that
is true.
night.
Yeah.
339, baby. She'll live in infamy forever.
But the sack total is 21 for Mac, 24 for Lawrence. So actually, Lawrence has been sacked more, which is really surprising to me because I feel like Mac just he does get sacked a lot. Or the other thing is though with Mac, his completion percentage to me is a bit of a it's like a red herring, right? Because he does do the check down a lot. Like that's like one of his favorite things to do. He's just not the guy, and that's okay. You know what? I'm at that point now where it's like the 7 stages. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay,
yes,
that's okay.
You called everybody and apologized. Yep.
I'm not on that fence yet. But if you don't look at the stats and you have to draft you got a choice between Mac and you got a choice between Trevor. Which one you taking?
If you're looking at the career stats or just this season stats?
If you're just not even looking at the stats, don't even look at them. Just
no, so I'll tell you if we're going to skate back while Scotty makes an adult decision and makes a much better quote in a second, I'm going to say something off the cuff. If I skate back to that night, I was actually happy that it went to Mac because historically, and the wife will absolutely double stamp this, historically in our household, our brain trust at the Lindsay household, my wife and I and the cats, we have decided that nobody who like Trevor, did Trevor get drafted first that year? Like, was he the first quarterback? I would have never touched him because I haven't seen a number 1 quarterback transfer into the NFL and do well. I don't know the last time we saw that. What was Mahomes?
Burrow.
What? Oh, Burrow was one. He was. I apologize.
Burrow was one. Burrow was one. I mean,
you're making my point.
Right.
I'm speaking off the top of my head, but like I was happy with Mac. I'm like, it's totally under the radar. And everybody was like, oh, he was surrounded by weapons at Alabama. I get that. Here's my biggest fear is we do move on from him and he goes somewhere else and he does click. And I think he has the ability to go somewhere else and click. I'm just shocked that he's getting excoriated by his former, now present offensive coordinator on the sideline. That was physical. Yeah. Like them yelling, like that was
I'm not surprised by that at all. I mean, him and Brady used to get into it all the time too. Like Billy, Tom versus Time. You
talked about this.
And where they used to call Brady had mentioned that they call Bill O'Brien the teapot because he's always like simmering and then he's going to explode. And you could see it. And I think there's a video somewhere where they try to like read the lips. Basically, he was ripping on him because he had the wrong first read. And honestly, because I have issues, I've watched a lot of the game back again, and there were people wide open, and Mac was just not looking at them. And it was just making the wrong first read. And he's making that wrong first read, and then so he's looking at the wrong person, and then he's trying to make a play. Instead of taking, okay, that person's covered, let's make the next one. And you know what I mean? It's just, and I know that probably comes from his offensive line. Yeah, again, not as many sacks as Lawrence, but his offensive line not being great. So, what is it there? It's definitely mental, though. I feel like that he's got some issues, and physical. I don't think he has the arm strength.
Is it that Bill has missed too many and wasted away too many draft picks to really truly build this team? He's mismanaged. I'm going to draft this player, and that player hasn't worked out. He doesn't have the protection that he needs to build a quarterback, right? Brady had protection. Brady could be all day in that pocket and figure it out. And there were some times throughout that career that he had with the Patriots, they didn't have protection, so he had to release it really fast, right? That was that whole. He's only got it for a second, and he's tossing it to Edelman or he's tossing it to whoever, right? So some of this has to be blamed on the GM that's putting this team together, and the coach that thinks he knows more than anybody else. When he's got to adapt. He's got to adapt to these new players, and I don't think he's doing that. I don't think the GM is doing that.
Yeah, I think Belichick's drafting side, to your point, Corey, on the defensive side has been, I think, really, really,
really good.
I'd say it's good. It's been very good
offensively.
Very good. And here's the thing too. If you think back, it's funny because I started thinking about this the other day too, where when it comes to offensive linemen, he was doing really well for himself. If you look back at some of the ones that he has drafted over the last, 15 years, even up to like recently, where unfortunately he let Joe Tooney walk, but he was a draft pick. Nate Solder, Logan Mankins. You look back at the offensive line, you could keep going. Sebastian Vollmer, David Andrews, right? So, and I still think Cole Strange.
Give me some wideouts. Really give me some wideouts that he drafted.
Well, no, I don't want to. You said offensive line. We're not talking about wideouts. You said
this down.
line.
Bethel Johnson. Come on now.
Who?
Aaron Dobson. My dad used to call him Aaron Dropson.
Oh.
Yeah. He was horrible. No, Chad Jackson. How about Chad Jackson?
Yes.
You want to get? We can't. Let's not go down the wide receiver. The wide receiver from Florida. He was awful. He was like a second round pick, I think. He was up there. That was just wide receivers.
He does well on running backs.
Right ends.
I'll give him that. Running
some
backs,
that kill people
really well there.
Yeah.
So Corey just said a thing, and I've heard so many people say it, and here comes Grandpa Lindsay waving his cane at the clouds. He has to adapt to these new players. Like, adapt to what, though? Like, talent is talent. Like, end of story. Like, he doesn't need to walk in and know that the new TikTok is, Jack Harlow. He doesn't, like, all of that. Yeah, all of that bullshittery. Like, and I know that's probably not what you mean, but, like, no, like, talent is talent. And I don't think he's incapable of making those picks. I think most people would argue he was informed that we were going to go with Mac Jones. Yeah. Like, a lot of people still feel that Mac Jones was a Kraft thing, and that's what they wanted, or what at least Bobby wanted.
I think that's what Kraft wanted, and that's why Belichick has not made it work. Right? He hasn't made it work.
So you think that was a Kraft pick that Belichick wanted to stay with Stidham instead?
I don't know if he wanted to draft a quarterback there. I think he wanted to trade it.
That's my biggest fear. Is let's say we finish, what is it, 2-38? Like, however we finish, whatever the final record is, we end up top 3, top 2. Is he going to go for the next left tackle, or is he actually going to use it on a quarterback? And as everyone's discussed, because it got leaked out, everybody's leaking stuff, that the deal that he signed over the summer after the draft included changes to his authority. So does that say that when we get to April again, somebody else is making the decisions? And who's that person? Who's in the clubhouse right now? Whether we know about it or not, I'm not in those meetings. Like, we don't know who might be the brain trust now that is already looking at what the draft will look like. I think that deserves some energy. I think he deserves to be the head coach of this new recipe. I feel like the cat that's kicked, though, because my last head coach left before him. Was it before him? No, there was Pete Carroll in there somewhere, right? I'm losing track now.
Yeah,
Parcells left 1,000 years ago, and he's like, they want me to make dinner, but they won't let me buy the groceries. Right. And he's off the tree, as we know, of Parcells. Like, is he going to feel that same way? Or if he truly agreed to this new deal that says, yeah, I'm going to have a percentage of the decision on draft night, but I will not be the final say.
I don't think he deserves to be the final say. And what I mean by adapting to these new players, you're right. Talent is what a talent is. But is he trying to say, I'm going to take this round hole and put it into my square peg? Right? Can he adapt the scheme to a player? I don't know if he's doing that. He still thinks and he is very smart, right? But he wants to prove everybody that I'm the smartest person in the room. You're going to do what I say. These new players don't speak that same language that Brady did and all these other players did, where you could tell them they suck and criticize him in public, right?
Yeah,
And
well,
then
you
take it.
make a great point. Here's a guy that has been shopping the entire time, and I think one of my favorite movies, Catch Me If You Can, right?
Yes, I know
And
where you're going.
it's the scene where Christopher Walken is standing outside Chase Bank, and he goes, "You know why the Yankees always win? Because everybody's focused on the pinstripes." And you've got a head coach who has been shopping. It doesn't really matter if we do fucking street corn, if I do green bean casserole. There's a goddamn prime rib on the table. The prime rib is gone. We are now placing accoutrement around a chuck roast, right? No, I mean that's a piece of this.
Right?
You're
You're 100%.
You think you're patching it together with the lacrosse kid from Penn State? What was his name? I can't think of his name. My wife loved him.
He went back
Hogan.
to play lacrosse.
Who was it?
Hogan.
Chris Hogan.
Yeah, Chris Hogan. Like Chris Hogan, and he'll take $7. And this guy used to work at Stop and Shop. Like he could do that because you had a fucking prime rib in the middle of the table. Nobody cared what the sides were. Give me another goddamn piece of tomahawk steak. And he made all that stuff happen. And now you don't have that. And you still have the mentality of, I can put talent-ish around him. But he needs studs. And we thought, because we were drunk, we thought Juju was going to be, we thought he was going to bring the Juju.
No, Juju wasn't going to have any Juju.
Nothing, I think. I feel like he brought
pulled.
COVID. I don't know what he brought, but he didn't bring anything, actually.
That's why no other team wanted to touch him, because he didn't have anything left.
The greatest quote, I don't know if you guys weren't listening, so I'll share this with you. It was immaculate. He's so awesome. So it's Bob Sochi. Help me, the quarterback that does the call on the radio.
Scott Zolak.
Thank you. Zolak is doing the call. And somebody dropped a pass, and he screamed. He goes, "Headline for tomorrow. Look, Ma, no Hans." Right, because of Germany. I was just like, he's just brilliant. He always comes up with like just perfect.
Zolak, yeah.
And he was actively cheering for Uncle Rico and the Colts. He's so fed up. When your booth is like just done to the point that they're just, because I think a lot of people are in this camp, and I'm not in the camp quite yet because I still want to watch them win, but I don't want them to screw this up, which I guess my next question for you boys, you benched him going into the 2-minute drill. And I think you did a disservice to Zappy because I don't think he was ready for that. Do you actually march him back out in 2 weeks against the Giants, or do you give Zappy 2 weeks to be prepared to be the guy and see what he actually can do? And I think I know Uncle Dukes doesn't love Zappy. You're not in for Zappy time. And I'm not saying he's a long-term answer, but are you now put Mac back in, maybe create a little draft stock or a little trade stock in him? And if it doesn't go well, who cares? Because we'll finish 2-38 and we're going to get a top 5 pick. Like, where are you guys at on that?
I don't know. I mean, you can't really get much for Zappy right now. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year anyway.
Well, I meant Mac too, though.
Oh,
in the grand
sorry.
scheme of things.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mac.
I don't think you pick up obviously Mac yet.
I don't think Belichick's wired to tank. I don't think he can.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. And real quick about the Belichick thing is I know that the prime rib being Brady and everything that they had. The one thing I'll say this, after Brady left in 2019, the influx around the decision making, and I know Tommy's always been, I've never made any decisions in drafting or free agents or whatever. I've thrown my advice, but he's also had McDaniels there to throw his advice in there as well. Right? Think about the influx of or lack of consistency on that side of the football when it comes to advice around personnel, where, since 2020, it was McDaniels. Then 2021, it was actually, I think it was McDaniels in 21 as well. And then, because that was Mac's rookie year. And then obviously the next couple, or last year was the shit show. And then this year's Billy. So I feel like there hasn't been that, consistent message to help Bill, I feel like, as well, when it comes to, hey, we could pay $7 for Chris Hogan, but you know what? He fits our scheme well. Because their lack of scheme on the offensive side is something I think that's really hurt them. Where the lack of scheme on the defensive side hasn't really hurt them. Where they just held the Colts. It's the only team in football that had scored 20 points every game this year. They held them to 10 points. You know what I mean? But anyway, besides that, when it comes to this upcoming, not this weekend, but next weekend against the Giants.
I want your pick for this weekend. Do we win or lose?
We win.
There's still time, baby. There's still a girl can dream.
I always pick him to win.
2-9. We didn't even play. That's what makes this so
Woo!
difficult.
It's fine.
I
Exactly.
don't really work here. Sorry, got a Seinfeld quote in. Sorry.
It was perfect. Honestly, I first of all, I hated the benching. It really, I understand why he did it, but it didn't make any sense. Like you said, Tim, Zappy's not built for that, and not many quarterbacks are. Only the legendary ones are. You know what I mean? And Zappy's not a legendary one. Like Zappy to me has, I think, a better arm than Mac. I think he's got a stronger arm, but I think Mac is a better cerebral quarterback. Is Zappy probably a better athlete? Yes, but I think Mac's a smarter one. So when it comes to in 2 weeks from now, honestly, it's a coin toss at this point. I would not be shocked if Zappy started, only because it depends on what happens over the next, 2 weeks worth of practices, in my opinion, because I think that's what Bill's going to end up going back on. And both Bills, O'Brien and Belichick. At least that's my thought. Go ahead, Corey.
I think if you look at the history and look at the analytics from it, Bill's done this how many times to Mac? He's benched him, or he's not had him, marched him out there. He's marched somebody else out there. Yeah. And how many times did he start the next week?
Every time.
Okay.
Okay.
So, he's going to go back out there, and he's going to, but you're messing with the kid at this point by doing that. Either put him out there, don't put him out there. Don't have him start the next week, then put somebody else out there. But Bill hasn't proven that.
All right. Malik Cunningham.
I like Zappy. I do. I like Malik. He's okay, right? But they're not going to be any better because the scheme is terrible. Billy O'Brien doesn't get it and hasn't gotten it. To Duke's point, the defense held them to 10 points.
Yeah.
You should be winning that game. How offensively do you not win that game?
Yeah. It is unbelievable.
It's
the
because the
positive
scheme wasn't there.
Their running scheme, their running plays they ran the football well, best than they have all season, right? And it really was the quarterback play that really ended up hurting them at the end of the whole thing. So I mean, I agree with Corey wholeheartedly, though, when it comes to Mac, who's still 7 seconds old. You know what I mean? He's still like in his early 20s. If from a confidence and mental health perspective, the more you do this to him, the worse it's going to be for the poor kid. I do kind of feel bad for him in that regard. I really do.
Bring back Josh. I'll take Josh. He defended us in the Raiders locker room. I'll take him back. No. Mac was better with Josh.
That would just be the biggest cluster, though, because you just signed Billy O'Brien. Everyone was cheering for Billy O, and I mean, I'm not opposed to it either, Corey. But I could you can't imagine like what the hell? I mean, at that point, like, what the hell are we doing? Like, really, what the hell are we doing? Because the other thing is too, it's always one of those things where, all right, Billy's not working this year. That's it. Get him out. It's a brand new system comparatively to what Josh ran, comparatively to what Patricia ran, and so on and so forth, right? So yes, it's a horrible year. They're really still struggling, and from a coaching perspective, if they don't have the talent around them in regards to also the quarterback as well as the weapons, fucking Juju, then I think I don't know if I honestly, it's so hard for me because I'm like Timmy, where I'm waving my cane and feeling like the old person, where I don't know if I can really blame the coaches. I know everyone wants to, but I don't know if it's really the coaches or it's just the lack of talent that's on the field. It's like
I think it's both, but Matt can't throw the ball and catch the ball at the same time.
Oh,
I know, but he can't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field, so that's a problem.
Corey actually looks better in a bikini. But wow,
You're welcome.
And the chatter that he's lost the locker room. I think I don't believe that at all. I really don't. I think he's got the consensus in the locker room. I think he has the consensus in New England. I don't talk
Those
to
players still kiss the ring. Every morning
1,000%.
they come in, they still kiss the ring.
He's earned over the years. He's earned the right to decide when he's going to leave. Not that he's in total control. And I think there's cover too. I mean, we've talked about this over the week, Scotty. I think Belichick goes. Now Kraft is taking the slings and arrows, unless it's a 2-step process. And it's like, Jonathan, you're going to take over. First thing you do is get rid of Belichick. clean out his office, and then they're going to call Vrabel. Like, you're going to blow the whole thing up. Or Flutie. I mean, either way. But, like, probably Vrabel. Probably, Barros is available.
All right, no, you check the box. You got Barros, you got Flutie.
Barros throws up a 4-pointer. We're tied on Sunday. We're going to overtime. That's all I'm saying. It could have happened. But still a chance.
So Vrabel's the coach and Brady's the offensive coordinator.
Brady can't be. He's with the Raiders.
Well,
he's going with the Raiders. He's going
to be in the booth next year anyway.
Is he, though?
We'll see.
I don't know.
He signed $1 million, a $300 million contract, didn't he?
Ridiculous.
I think he could tell them I don't feel like it, and they'll be like, "Well, wait, it's all right. Just spend the money.
Yeah,
it's
right.
fine.
Yeah.
Go get yourself another Breitling and some more Uggs. It'll be fine. It'll be all right. We'll wait." Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. God bless him. I don't see him going to the booth. I just don't.
No?
I don't think. You know what? I think they might be doing some stuff in the background to see if he's booth worthy, and I just don't think he is. I'm sorry to say it. Love Tom Terrific. I don't think he has the cachet to carry the booth. You're supposed to be coming in as the color guy. You're supposed to add flavor and nuance. And I think, I think he has a bad Botox session on Friday. His jaw locks up. He can't speak on. I don't know. I don't think it's for him. I don't think he translates well in the booth at all.
I agree with you. I think it's like watching Jordan be an owner of an NBA team and the GM. He can't do it. Great talent.
He sold it and he's doing fine because I saw the picture the other day with the girlfriend and God, yeah, whatever.
Well, he's making more money from Nike than he has.
Whatever she needs.
Yeah. Fiance now, man. She's good for him.
He'll have another one in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Good for again, and we're
good
back.
For all.
Yes, good for all. Good for everybody. Good for everybody. So no, I honestly want to pick. How do we do this weekend? We win or lose? Patriots. What's the over under?
Win.
So what do we know? We know if they were probably going to take action with this huge gap, they would have done something. They didn't do anything.
They did. They released Jack Jones.
Yes.
Who immediately got signed by the Raiders.
Yeah. Did he really?
He did, because Antonio Pierce was like his high school coach or something like that too. So there's connection there, and stuff like that too. Look, the kid's super talented. He did not like Bill. They did not get along, and he voiced that constantly and was a dick about it and carried firearms into a plane. So yeah, he made a lot of stupid things and was late and tardy and all that stuff.
Fascinating. With all that stupidity, the team stuck behind him after that stupidity at Logan, and then I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's doing it. So the Jets play the Bills on Sunday, right?
What time is that game?
That's 4:05 on Fox.
Okay.
Who wins that game? And who do we want to win that game?
Where is that? And I don't think it matters actually. Where is it though?
It's in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's the Bills. Bills take that game. Bills take that game.
Honestly, the best games to me this week are by themselves. The NFL did themselves a favor. Thursday night, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and then Monday night, Philly and Kansas City.
Wow.
Those are the two games right there. I mean, Sunday's going to be fun.
Sunday almost doesn't matter. Sunday's just put on Red Zone and
that's exactly
enjoy
it.
the piece.
Sunday will be fun because it's just a bunch of games at that point.
Well, what about the Raiders? The Raiders and Dolphins.
And Dolphins.
Yeah.
I think Pierce's bubble gets bursted at that point. But
I'd love to see the Dolphins lose and go 6-4, be at 6-4, right?
Yeah.
Does that help you?
My only happiness in life right now is watching AFC East teams lose. I was so happy last night when the Broncos won. That's the only happiness I have right now in my NFL life.
Here's the good news: we're winning the race to the bottom, so it doesn't matter. We get
exactly
sole position of fourth place.
Yeah.
God.
By the way, before we hop off here, I did want to go back to the Celtics just real quick.
Corey has dinner at 6:30 with his team at Sizzler, so we do have to jump. Yes.
Okay. Just real quick.
Honestly,
it's Dominic's. We're going to Dominic.
If you look up Sizzler, there's like one left in Florida. There's only one Sizzler left, and she's doing
All
great.
I'm saying is looking forward to seeing the two games they have left this week. The Philly game tomorrow. Can't wait for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. The two best teams in the East, 8-1 versus 8-2, and a little bit of revenge. And then the Toronto game which is a part of like that weird play-in tournament, the thing that they're doing.
Yeah, we got to dig deep on that. The floor is terrible. The concept is terrible. I mean, they're doing it.
I like
they're
our
doing it
floor. I like our floor.
Oh,
Our floor is fine.
Oh.
Yeah, our floor is
floor
fine.
is
I don't
Okay.
hate that. There's a lot of
the
them.
red.
Oh, some
No,
of the red, I don't know. Like, when you go to a concert and they're like, before we start the show, if anybody has epilepsy, you might want to leave the venue. Like, some of these floors are garbage, and I understand the concept. Correct me, Scotty, because I guarantee I'm going to be wrong on 3, 2, 1. This is in an effort to hopefully restrict load management, right? Like they're doing this to keep
this is
players
to make
on
everything
the floor, right?
more.
I mean,
give them something to play for. But
somebody was on the dais the other day after the game. They're like, I don't even know what this is. Like one of the players, I don't even know what this is. Like apparently,
I'm not
there's
even
money
paying
at the
attention
end.
to
I don't
it.
know what we're doing. I don't know what that floor was. I don't know what the shirt is.
Honestly, the NBA is just trying to pull in like a soccer vibe, essentially, for that.
He's on a 10-day contract anyway. It doesn't matter.
It's like a viewership. It's a viewership type of thing as well. But what I was going to say was, yeah, go ahead.
I like some of the floors, and I like some of the jerseys too. There's some of the jerseys I'm just
Ours
like,
is terrible.
You think ours is terrible?
Terrible.
They're okay.
So the one I got you for Christmas, I shouldn't send it to you?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Double extra fat. Yeah, I look like KP. I gotta get myself a throne. Yep.
Anyway, what I was going to say was about the Toronto game that they play because of what happened with Schroeder and the challenging after the Celtics were up by like 30 at that point. So I'm looking forward to that game. I honestly was fine with the challenge too. I think Schroeder needs to get the stick out of his ass at this point.
He's an angry midget. I
Oh.
love him, but he's angry.
Yeah, he gets. I don't know. He was here for 4 seconds, and it's like he feels like the Celtics owe him something. I swear. I'm like, no,
Dukes, I got a question for you.
When you were here, and but
I got a question for you. Where do you see the Celtics record being at the All-Star break?
At the All-Star break, so they're about 66 games or so in, give or take. I'm going to say, honestly, probably about close to 40 wins.
Okay.
I'd say 40, somewhere around in there. I see them winning 60.
I had them pegged at 44.
Yeah, I see them at like 65 wins this year. Between 65 and 68.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to have a monster year.
What's your hot take on what kind of moves they make before the trade deadline? Because the trade deadline this year is before the All-Star break, right?
Timmy's going to fucking love
do
this.
it. Do it. Dana
It's
Barros.
not. No, it's not Dana Barros because, Dana Barros he's not really in shape anymore. Anyway, have you seen him? I love him to death. But, yeah, and he would still kick my ass on the court. But honestly, no, I was going to say there's somehow, some way.
BC, barely calisthenic. Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, they bring Marcus Smart back.
What?
You said hot take. That's my hot take. Somehow, some way,
they
bring Marcus
with
Smart
the tongs out of the toaster. Like what?
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah, at the trade deadline, they don't get rid of like Hauser or Pritchard or anybody like that, but they somehow basically it's not going to work out in Memphis. They're still struggling. And 6-8 weeks from now, they're still struggling. They're having a hard time. And the Celtics somehow, Brad makes a change, some kind of a move, and Marcus.
Well,
Smart
the gunslinger comes back by then too
for the playoff run.
No, yeah. I see that, and I'll raise you. They trade for Danny Ainge. He comes back. They try to get Smart, and then they're like, "We were this close."
No, I like that hot take of Marcus Smart coming back.
That's amazing.
That would make my wife happy. So my son and I later on this month. So many
women love. I know so many girls. They're like, "Oh, Marcus." Yeah.
Yeah. My son and I are flying to Memphis to see the Grizzlies take on the Spurs. I think that's on the 25th or 26th of November, just so we can see Marcus. But I love that hot take because I'd love to see him back, and I think there's room for that. I think we could get him for that because the gunslinger, like I said, will be coming back by then. Who loves guns and likes to shoot them and show them off. He'll be back for the Grizzlies, so they won't need Marcus, right? And they got D Rose, right?
Yeah. We'll see if
there you go.
Well, I'm saying in theory because I feel like Morant's going to make he's going to do something stupid between now and then.
He can't help himself. It's so disappointing.
He really can't. Real quick, Corey, before you have to go to
Sizzler.
the steakhouse.
Right.
Sizzler, yeah.
Say it proud.
Who's winning tomorrow at the game you're attending, the Knicks or the Hawks?
Oh, the Hawks are terrible. The Knicks are winning that game.
Really? Oh wow, no love for Trae Young. Hawks are
Uh,
5-4. You know, they're not bad.
I'm so tired of
yeah,
that.
I'm-
I'm just tired.
I-
Okay. we
I
get
think
it.
he does
Yep.
it because he gets stuff from his hair, like the flakes from his hair come down on his shoulders,
Oh.
and he's gonna
Let
brush them
your
off.
It's always
soul
snowing. It's
glow.
always snowing.
I would love for him to soul glow that up. I would love it. I would love it. It's so weird.
probably-
It's just
Just needs to
yeah.
Derek White the
it's
thing.
like
Would you just Derek White it?
It's like you got a chia pet at the
gone
Yankee
bad.
swap and you forgot to water it. It's so sparse. It's like the Patriots offense. I can't figure it out. There's a lot going on. There's not enough going on. It's an amalgamation of what the actual ball of wax.
Yeah,
I don't know what's happening there.
I've been to the Atlanta Hawks arena 4 times now, and
Did
the
you
only
lose a
time
bet?
I've seen them.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Good story.
The only time I've seen them play good was that one playoff game against the Celtics.
Neek.
that they played out of their
Dominic
mind.
was awesome.
Was it me?
No, it wasn't Nick. All right. Yeah. He's not.
Mookie Blaylock. Mookie Blaylock was awesome.
Mookie Blaylock.
Mookie.
Neek, little Barros. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God.
What? He's
Data Barros.
available. He's
I
available.
think we have passed the quota
I
for
love
the
it.
entire
Oh,
year on Data Barros.
Boxes checked through 2029, and I won't be here for that. That show will fade to black, and it'll say "In Memoriam, Grandpa Lindsay."
With just a cane.
Yeah, just a
Shame.
cane,
Wow.
just a cane wagging. All right, boys, appreciate your time. We'll be back at it next week. I think we're on for Tuesday next week. So unless Corey has an NBA game or if he's trying to get gas in Bambalamba, whole story for off the air, Scotty. Wait till you hear it. It's a good
We gotta hear
story.
that story.
It's a good story. You can check us out at atbshow.com. Rubbish Shoes will be back at it tomorrow. There'll be Jersey of the Day, the wrap up and rant. It's on all the social mediums, even your MySpace. He tracked you down. You're in his top 8. We'll see you then. Take care.